Magic Johnson. How much money? You will not believe what he did. Earvin Magic Johnson Jr. was born in August of 1959 in Lansing, Michigan. From a young age, Johnson was drawn to the sport of basketball. By the time he was graduating middle school, he had decided that he wanted to seriously consider a career in the sport. As a high school student, Johnson attended Everett High School, a predominantly white school. He struggled a lot with instances of racism during his time at Everett, but he was still able to perform at a level that separated himself from his colleagues. Upon his graduation in 1977, Magic Johnson was being vigorously pursued by some prestigious and competitive universities. Ultimately, he decided to attend Michigan State University, where he would help lead his team to a tournament championship during the 1978-1979 season. His impressive performance in high school and college led to Johnson being drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers with the first overall pick in the 1979 NBA draft. Magic Johnson, true to his moniker, brought a lot of magic to the Lakers. During his rookie year, he helped to pull the team to the 1980 NBA Finals, which they would go on to win. Johnson wasn't just riding the bench during the championship game either. He played as starting point guard during Game 6, when the series was at 3-2. Johnson played spectacularly in that game, putting on a performance that is thought to have been one of the greatest in NBA history. It was pretty phenomenal. Within the span of 2 years, Magic Johnson had won both an NCAA and NBA championship. He had rocketed to the top as one of the most popular and well-regarded players in the league, and he had just finished off his first season. In November 1991, Magic Johnson stunned the sports world with his announcement that he was infected with the human immune deficiency virus, HIV, the virus that causes the disease-acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS. Johnson announced that he was retiring from professional basketball but returned in 1992 and again in 1996. He turned his enthusiasm and leadership skills to business. Among his successes, he developed movie theaters and shopping malls in poor and neglected sections of large cities where no one else would invest. Johnson was born in 1959 in Lansing, Michigan. He first played organized basketball at Everett High School. In 1977, Johnson and the Everett team won the Michigan State High School Championship. Johnson then attended Michigan State University. As a sophomore, he averaged 17.1 points per game and was named an All-American. In 1979, Michigan State won the National Collegiate Championship by defeating Indiana State University, a team led by future Boston Celtics star Larry Bird. Johnson scored 24 points and was chosen Most Valuable Player, MVP. Johnson was selected first in the 1979 National Basketball Association, NBA, draft by the Los Angeles Lakers. In his first game for the Lakers he scored 26 points. He then became the first rookie to start in an NBA All-Star game. The Lakers won the 1979-1980 Pacific Division title and went on to play the Philadelphia 76ers for the championship. The Lakers defeated the 76ers for the NBA title, and Johnson became the youngest player ever to be named MVP of the playoffs. Transformed Lakers into champions. At 6 feet 9 inches, Johnson became the first big man to dominate play at point guard, a position usually reserved for smaller players. His passing, dribbling skills, and ball-handling technique won him the nickname Magic. His magnetic personality made him one of the most popular players in the league. During the 1981-1982 season, Laker head coach Paul West had designed an offense that focused around center Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The change upset Johnson, and he asked to be traded, a move that angered some Laker fans who felt that Johnson was selfish. Westhead was replaced by Pat Riley, who stressed the role of the point guard in his offense. Under Riley, Johnson matured into one of the best all-around players in the league. In his first season with Riley, Johnson had more than 700 rebounds and 700 assists, the first player since Wilt Chamberlain to do so. Johnson was again named MVP of the playoffs. In 1985 the Lakers won their third NBA title, defeating the Boston Celtics and Larry Bird. The sports media like to refer to the matchup between Bird and Johnson, but Johnson was a guard and Bird a forward. During that same season, Johnson averaged 23.9 points per game, 5 points above his career average. That season he became the first guard in league history to be voted MVP of the regular season. In 1987 the Lakers again defeated the Celtics for the championship, and Johnson was named MVP of the series. During his 12 years with the Lakers beginning in 1979, John's team went to the playoffs 8 times and won 5 championship titles. Johnson was chosen playoff MVP 3 times. He was a 12-time All-Star and the 1,990 Albanian Lex Star Games MVP. He scored a total of 17,239 points in 874 games, averaging 19.7 per game. He displayed his defensive skills by pulling down 6,376 rebounds and making 1,698 steals. During the 1990-1991 season he broke Oscar Robertson's assist record with 9,888, finishing the season with a total of 9,921. Not surprisingly, in October 1996, he was named one of the 50 greatest players in the history of the NBA. Retires after contracting AIDS. In November 1991, during a routine physical examination for an insurance policy, Johnson found out that he was a carrier of the HIV virus. Johnson admitted that his lifestyle as a sports celebrity included extensive heterosexual promiscuity. However, he never suspected that he might contract HIV, which he thought was limited to homosexual men. The Lakers team physician advised Johnson to quit basketball immediately in order to safeguard his threatened immune system. Johnson shared his discovery with the other players on the Laker team, then announced to the American people that he was HIV positive. Johnson's admission stunned his fans. Overnight the likable player became a spokesman for AIDS awareness. "I want kids to understand that safe sex is the way to go," Johnson told people. "Sometimes we think only gay people can get HIV, or that it's not going to happen to me. Here I am. And I'm saying it can happen to anybody, even Magic Johnson." President George Bush appointed Johnson to the National Commission on AIDS, but he resigned to protest what he considered to be the president's lack of support for AIDS research. Johnson continued to speak out and literally raise millions for research to combat the disease. He founded the Magic Johnson Foundation for HIV/AIDS Education and co-authored What You Can Do to Prevent AIDS. Retirement, return, retirement, and return. In January 1992, 2 months after he had retired, Johnson was among the leaders in voting for the 1992 NBA All-Star Game. He came out of retirement to play in the game, scoring 25 points, with 9 assists, in 29 minutes. There was little surprise when Johnson was named the game's MVP. In the summer of 1992, Johnson went to Barcelona, Spain, as a member of the United States basketball team in the 25th Summer Olympics. Dubbed the Dream Team by sports journalists, the American entry also included NBA stars Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, John Stockton, Patrick Ewing, Karl Malone, Clyde Drexler, David Robinson, Charles Barkley, Scottie Pippen, Chris Mullin, and Duke University's Christian Laettner. The Dream Team easily won the gold medal. Fans were saddened, however, because they believed that the careers of both Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were over. But Magic hoped that he still could have a future in basketball. He announced his return to the NBA shortly before the 1992 season began, but only played in 5 preseason games before retiring for the second time. Johnson cited the other players' concerns about the possibility of being infected while playing and his desire to stay healthy for his family. Johnson remained active in the basketball world. He purchased 5% of the Lakers, and he formed a charitable, but competitive, basketball team that played exhibition games around the world. He became a vice president in the Lakers organization and took over as interim head coach of the team for the last part of the 1992-93 season. But Johnson really preferred playing to coaching. At the beginning of 1996, the rumors of his return proved to be true. Magic Johnson came back to the LA Lakers, this time as a power forward and not a point guard. By May 1996, however, Johnson, once again announced his retirement, this time for good. He had discovered that the current players on the team did not idolize him and would not give the ball exclusively to him. Successful business ventures. Johnson showed the same all-star success as an entrepreneur. Like other star athletes, Johnson endorsed products, licensed use of his name, and gave corporate speeches for big fees. He led his Magic Johnson All-Stars round the world, playing exhibition games against foreign basketball teams for substantial profits. Since he lived in L.A., it was only natural for him to get involved in entertainment, possibly as host of a late-night talk show. However, in a move less typical of a sports star, Johnson also became personally involved in large-scale property development. Among his successes were movie complexes and shopping centers in inner-city areas where no one else wanted to invest. In June 1995, Johnson partnered with Sony to open the 12-screen Magic Theaters multiplex in a predominantly black section of Los Angeles. The project became one of the top-grossing movie outlets in America and helped boost sales and occupancy at the mall in which it was located. In 1997, Johnson opened another movie complex in southwest Atlanta. Magic movie marquees were under construction in Houston and Cleveland, and Johnson announced plans for 14 new multiplexes in 10 other cities. His company, Johnson Development, went on to buy entire shopping centers and poor communities in Las Vegas and Los Angeles. Johnson earned goodwill for helping spiff up and bringing jobs to the inner city. His ventures also brought him great personal wealth. Time quoted him as saying, "It's important to help the community, but the number one goal here is to make money. This is not charity." Johnson's personal involvement in business affairs got its impetus early in his hoop career. He realized he had signed away his talents for too low a salary. And he also witnessed the fleecing of fellow Laker Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who lost millions to unscrupulous financial advisors. In the mid-1980s, Johnson dumped his own advisors and demanded monthly statements from his new ones. By 1996, he had a net worth of more than $100 million. Living with HIV. In September 1991, just before he learned he had HIV, Johnson wed longtime friend Earletha Cookie Kelly. The couple had a son in 1993 and adopted a daughter in 1995. Johnson also has a son from a previous relationship who spends the summers with him. Ever optimistic, Johnson believed that the right combination of medicine, diet, and exercise would help him to survive until a cure for AIDS was found. Johnson's physicians announced in early 1997 that the AIDS virus in his body had been reduced to undetectable levels. They attributed the improvement to the use of powerful drugs, including PROTC inhibitors. His wife Cookie gave the credit to God, stating, "The Lord has definitely healed Irvin. Doctors think it's the medicine. We claim it in the name of Jesus." The Johnsons attended the West Angles Church of God in Christ, to which he donated $5 million in 1995. Magic Johnson's net worth. 5 fast facts you need to know. Urban Magic Johnson's net worth is estimated at $600,000 million, according to the Celebrity Net Worth website. Johnson started playing basketball in high school, where he earned his nickname, Magic. It happened after he scored a triple-double with 36 points, 18 rebounds, and 16 assists. A local Michigan sports writer called him Magic, and the rest was pretty much history. Johnson was drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers in 1999 as a first overall pick. To this day, he often referred to as the best point guard to ever play the game. Fortune has dubbed Johnson one of the most successful black businessmen in the U.S. Here is what you need to know about Johnson's net worth. 1. Johnson signed a $25 million deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. Johnson inked a deal with the Los Angeles Lakers in 1981. His 25-year contract was worth $25 million. At the time, this amount of money to play basketball, and the length of the contract, was impressive. The contract, which runs through the year 2009, is apparently the richest and longest in sports. Johnson, 21 years old, who will earn his current $500,000 a year over the next 3 seasons, becomes the third $1 million per year player in the National Basketball Association, following a teammate, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Houston's Moses Malone, the New York Times reported. Even back then, Johnson made an impact. Although he was just starting out, Los Angeles Lakers owner Jerry Buss knew that this kid was going to make it. He may even be my coach. Or general manager. Or maybe he'll run the team and I'll just sit back and watch. Magic is a bright kid and I plan to make him my protege, teach him the business aspect of sports. I realize this is a very unusual contract because we're talking about a kid whose college class just graduated. But what it comes down to is that Magic is part of the family, Buss said at the time. 2. His Dana Point, California, home has an estimated worth of $7,600,000. Before settling down in Dana Point, Johnson and his wife had been bouncing around. They even owned a home in Hawaii. However, the two decided that they wanted to purchase a family home in California and were able to make their real estate dreams come true with the help of designer Michael Kreiss. Johnson's incredible mansion was featured in Architectural Digest. The Johnsons wanted areas where they could relax, and plenty of them. My thought was that we make it look almost like a cabana of sorts and blur the line between indoors and outdoors. The family room, a primary hangout with its billiard table, spills out onto a pool-flanked patio appointed with a large flat-screen TV and the same furniture, in the same configuration, as inside. Another popular spot is the living room, which, unlike most living rooms, is the domain of the kids. Chenille-covered sectionals take the place of formal furniture, and another flat screen is usually flashing video games. Of course, Magic Johnson got his theater, a 14-seat media room on the first floor boasting padded suede walls, a 133-inch screen, and a state-of-the-art control system, Kreiss said. 3. Johnson is the owner of a $1 billion company. Since retiring from the NBA, Johnson has had his hand in many things including his main business, Magic Johnson Enterprises. According to Celebrity Net Worth, that company is worth over $1 billion. Over the years, Johnson has had partnerships with Starbucks, 24 Hour Fitness, TGI Fridays, and AMC Theaters. He also owns his own movie studio marketing company. Magic Johnson Enterprises owns Magic Johnson Theaters, a movie studio and a promotional marketing company. In 1994 Magic paid $10 million to buy 4.5% of the Lakers, which he sold in 2010 to billionaire Patrick Soon-Shiong for a reported $1 million. In 2010 Johnson also sold his chain of Starbucks for $75 million, Celebrity Net Worth reports. In 2014, Johnson became an investor and board member for the Marvel Experience. According to Fortune, the company is a traveling entertainment show that includes an animated, 4D and multimedia-heavy adventure featuring Marvel's superheroes. 4. He is part owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. In 2012, Johnson became part owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. He, along with investment firm Guggenheim Partners, purchased the baseball team on March 27, 2012. The group purchased the team from Frank McCourt for $2 billion. I am thrilled to be part of the historic Dodger franchise and intend to build on the fantastic foundation laid by Frank McCourt as we drive the Dodgers back to the front page of the sports section in our wonderful community of Los Angeles, Johnson said in a statement after the deal was complete. 5. Johnson asked Michael Jordan for money. As a joke, Michael Jordan found himself on Forbes' billionaires list in 2015 and his good friend Magic Johnson couldn't resist sending him some congratulatory messages on Twitter. Check out his tweets below. Johnson, too, has made it his mission to become an advocate for HIV/AIDS awareness after announcing he'd contracted it in 1991. When he retired from the NBA, Johnson's ubiquitous smile was a beacon to basketball fans the world over, Sports Illustrated said in a statement. It now represents much more, a life dedicated to creating opportunity for others as well as himself. Few athletes have done more with the stardom they gained between the lines of competition, which is why SI is proud to honor him with his 2014 Sportsman of the Year Legacy Award. Since ending his NBA career in 1996, Johnson's ramped up his efforts as a businessman. He's the CEO of Magic Johnson Enterprises, MJE, a billion-dollar conglomerate he started in 1987, while he was still active in the NBA, with sprawling interests in including Aspire, a television network, Magic Johnson Bridgescape Academies, which helps high school dropouts get diplomas, and Clear Health Alliance, which helps provide healthcare for HIV/AIDS patients. "I get asked if I'm trying to help minorities or make money," Johnson recently told Sports Illustrated. "My answer is, I'm trying to do both. I've always wanted to be a businessman, and I think what really helped me was that Jerry Buss was a great owner of the Lakers. He knew what my goals and dreams were. He opened up the Lakers to me to teach me business," Johnson told Fortune at the ceremony. Earlier this month, Johnson became an investor and board member for the Marvel Experience, a traveling entertainment show that includes an animated, 4D and multimedia-heavy adventure featuring Marvel's superheroes. But his business prowess extends even further than his current ventures as part of MJE. He once also owned 105 Starbucks and a 4.5% stake in the Lakers. He sold both and collected a reported $100 million in 2010. In 2012, he and Guggenheim Partners, an investment firm, purchased the Los Angeles Dodgers for $2.15 billion, according to the MLB, which is the most money paid for a North American sports franchise. "I am thrilled to be part of the historic Dodger franchise and intend to build on the fantastic foundation laid by Frank McCourt as we drive the Dodgers back to the front page of the sports section in our wonderful community of Los Angeles," Johnson said in a statement at the time. The sale eclipses the Los Angeles Clippers' sale to former Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer, which made headlines earlier this year for its $2 billion price tag. But it appears that Johnson's deal was more comprehensive, with the group also acquiring Dodger Stadium as well as a television contract, parking lots around the stadium and land, according to the New York Times. The company and Johnson have held stakes in a number of other businesses over the years, including owning a chain of movies theaters, which he's since sold, Burger King restaurants and health clubs, which he still owns. In 2006, MJE scored a deal with Sodexo, the world's largest food services and facilities management company. With an estimated net worth of $500 million, and with MJE worth a reported $1 billion, Johnson is one of the most successful black businessmen in the U.S. Notably, however, there are just 5 black CEOs in the Fortune 500, with a 6th on the way in 2015. The list includes Kenneth Frazier of Merck, Kenneth Chenault of American Express, Roger Ferguson, Jr. of TIAA-CREF, Donald Thompson of McDonald's, Ursula Burns of Xerox, and Marvin Ellison, who will take the reins of JCPenney next year. Johnson happens to be a successful social media user too. In September, he was the #1 most commented on athlete in the NBA on Facebook despite being retired, according to statistics compiled by MVP Index, a firm that tracks athletes' online footprint through data analytics. This is a demo of voice-text TTS. Now that he's in business, it's interesting how he's turned to social media as a way to communicate about that transition and how he's talking about the brands he represents, said Kyle Nelson, the company's co-founder and chief marketing officer. Nelson said he had the opportunity to meet with Johnson recently about a partnership with MVP Index, although he declined to disclose more details. "It's interesting, when I met Magic a month and a half ago, Magic didn't come in the room and start talking sports," Nelson told Fortune. "His past was his past, but the future that he wants is around business. He wants to talk business. He doesn't want to talk about the game that happened last night." And as he wrote in his memoir, My Life, Johnson's father initially served as inspiration for his business prowess. "Dad didn't believe in handouts," Johnson wrote. "So as a kid, the only way I could get my hands on any spending money was to go out and earn it." How about Johnson's ambitions for his legacy as a businessman? "That I turned around urban America and that I was successful both in the urban market and in the general market," he told Fortune. "And last but not least, and this is the most important, that you can go be an athlete, be a winner on the court and go to the boardroom and be a winner there too." Sterling asked, "What has Magic Johnson done?" Answer, "Quite a lot." Perhaps the oddest part of Donald Sterling's interview with CNN's Anderson Cooper was the way he unloaded on Magic Johnson. It was the second time in about a month that the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers launched into tirade against the NBA Hall of Fame point guard, entrepreneur and philanthropist. In the recorded conversation that earned Sterling a lifetime ban from the NBA, he was caught telling friend V. Stiviano that he doesn't want her posting pictures with African Americans, including Johnson. In Monday night's CNN interview with Anderson Cooper, he went further, much further. What has he done? Can you tell me? Big Magic Johnson, what has he done? He said, turning the question on the CNN host. He's got AIDS. Did he do any business? Did he help anybody in South LA? What kind of a guy goes to every city, has sex with every girl, then he catches HIV? Is that someone we want to respect and tell our kids about? I think he should be ashamed of himself. I think he should go into the background. But what does he do for the black people? He doesn't do anything. So, let's ask the question, what has Magic Johnson ever done? As it turns out, quite a bit, and he's been doing them for a long time. Sterling insists he's no racist, still slams Magic Johnson. He won championships. For more than 3 decades, Earvin Johnson has had the magic touch. He led Michigan State to a national title in 1979 before going first in the NBA draft and winning the championship with the Los Angeles Lakers during his very first year in the league. The paycheck was nice too. Johnson signed a 25-year deal for $25 million. It was the longest and highest-paying gig in sports at the time. In 13 seasons with the Lakers, he racked up 5 NBA championships and 3 MVP awards. And don't forget the Olympic gold medal in 1992 as a part of the Dream Team, the first year pro players could take part. 9 months earlier, Olympic gold seemed like anything but a dream. He helped change attitudes about HIV/AIDS. When Johnson announced he was HIV positive and retiring from the Lakers in November 1991, it sounded more like a death sentence, so little was known about the disease at the time. But he helped change America's attitude toward the disease. In an interview with Cooper in November, he described himself as the blessing and the curse of HIV. I'm the blessing because people were talking about it, they ran out and got tested at that time, he said. That I'm the curse because people now say, oh well, HIV is nothing because if I get it I can be like magic. He's doing good, and I can do the same thing he's doing or take the same medicine he's taking and I'll be okay. But what they don't understand, he added, in 22 years, millions of people have died. And so, he says, his work isn't done. He's raised millions for charity. The same month he tested positive for HIV, he formed the Magic Johnson Foundation, which works to develop programs and support community-based organizations that address the educational, health and social needs of ethnically diverse, urban communities. Fact-checking the Sterling interview, in the 2+ decades since the world gasped at his HIV announcement, the foundation has raised more than $20 million for charity and given out almost $4 million in scholarships. He's brought business to minority communities. As it turns out, Johnson was a pretty good businessman too. He founded MJ Enterprises in 1987. The focus again was on serving diverse communities, bringing high-quality businesses to minority areas typically underserved by larger corporations. And Johnson seemed to invest in nearly everything: theaters, restaurants, fitness centers, sports teams and a TV network. A partnership with Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz made him millions. So did a share of the Lakers he bought and sold. Altogether, Johnson's business empire is estimated at $500 million. He's taken a high road. With numbers like that, it's no surprise that Johnson's longtime agent and friend Lon Rosen came to his defense Monday night, saying Magic was the exact opposite of the way Sterling portrayed him in the CNN interview. I've known Earvin since 1979 and his whole mission in life has been to create business opportunities in urban America and to be charitable, Rosen said in a Los Angeles Times interview on Monday. He has literally donated tens of millions of dollars of his own money to organizations and individuals forever and ever and ever. For his part, Johnson didn't dignify Sterling's contentions with a remark. Johnson posted a series of tweets after the interview aired, but he didn't respond to the specific allegations. "I'd rather be talking about these great NBA playoffs than Donald Sterling's interview," he said in one. After this week, no more Sterling talk. "Just the NBA playoffs," he said in another. Sterling's claims versus reality. Magic Johnson. How much money? You will not believe what he did. Earvin "Magic" Johnson Jr. was born in August of 1959 in Lansing, Michigan. From a young age, Johnson was drawn to the sport of basketball. By the time he was graduating middle school, he had decided that he wanted to seriously consider a career in the sport. As a high school student, Johnson attended Everett High School, a predominantly white school. He struggled a lot with instances of racism during, true to his moniker, brought a lot of magic to the Lakers. During his rookie year, he helped to pull the team to the 1980 NBA Finals, which they would go on to win. Johnson wasn't just riding the bench during the championship game either. He played as starting point guard during Game 6, when the series was at 3-2. Johnson played spectacularly in that game, putting on a performance that is thought to have been one of the greatest in NBA history. It was pretty phenomenal. Within the span of 2 years, Magic Johnson had won both an NCAA and NBA championship. He had rocketed to the top as one of the most popular and well-regarded players in the league, and he had just finished off his first season. In November 1991, Magic Johnson stunned the sports world with his announcement that he was infected with the human immune deficiency virus, HIV, the virus that causes the disease-acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS. Johnson announced that he was retiring from professional basketball but returned in 1992 and again in 1996. He turned his enthusiasm and leadership skills to business. Among his successes, he developed movies time at Everett, but he was still able to perform at a level that separated himself from his colleagues. Upon his graduation in 1977, Magic Johnson was being vigorously pursued by some prestigious and competitive universities. Ultimately, he decided to attend Michigan State University, where he would help lead his team to a tournament championship during the 1978-1979 season. His impressive performance in high school and college led to Johnson being drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers with the first overall pick in the 1979 NBA draft. Magic Johnson. Theaters and shopping malls in poor and neglected sections of large cities where no one else would invest. Johnson was born in 1959 in Lansing, Michigan. He first played organized basketball at Everett High School. In 1977, Johnson and the Everett team won the Michigan State High School Championship. Johnson then attended Michigan State University. As a sophomore, he averaged 17.1 points per game and was named an All-American. In 1979, Michigan State won the National Collegiate Championship by defeating Indiana State.